I think I agree with you. A unique curiosity to succeed as a data scientist, but in general, I think Google is driven by curiosity. Like a big part of the experimentation methods that have been developed by people working on Google or working in Microsoft, right?
Mm.
But is it experimentation only constrained to big companies? I
Hmm.
just jumped from the front
Yes.
end data science just because of what you said to many of my peers are creating small startups.
Mhm.
How they can embed experimentation.
Experimentation is so the methodology is available to everybody. The data or the power of the data to perform certain types of experimentation may be only available at certain scale. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be Google, Microsoft, Meta to have the scale to leverage traditional experimentations and be able to measure differences. Now, the kind of difference, the kind of incremental changes in user behavior that Google has the power to uncover. Clearly, it has a microscope that can get at the tiniest effects because of the scale, because we have the luxury of access to billions of users. So you can look things that would be very much impossible to see in other products if you don't have that sort of a scale. On the other hand, being able to measure what could be impossibly small to measure for many may only be so important for places like Google, where things in a way are so optimized that the increments that you're seeking are really infinitesimal. And because of the scale, that infinitesimal means a lot in terms of impact, right? But for a startup, in a way, you have a balance there, right? A/B testing is a rigorous methodology that where possible should be applied. And the signals you're seeking early on in a product maturity are probably like of a larger scale that you don't need sort of such a massive user base to be able to uncover those, to have the statistical power to observe that. So is it for every organization, every product? Not. You see a lot more of this in organizations that have product with a very, very large user base, and that becomes sort of a core functionality.
I have the pleasure to be with Daniele Micci-Barreca. Apologies. He is a seasoned data scientist with over 20 years of experience improving products through data in organizations such as Google and Uber, among others. Daniel, as a scholar, he has written about feature engineering, particularly geared toward improving products. And currently at Google, Daniel heads team focus on expanding the global user base of the Google app on iPhone, using data-driven insights to shape innovative features that enhance user engagement. Fun fact, I checked your profile, LinkedIn profile. I saw your photo. It's an amazing photo. I tried to imitate it with the software, the AI that takes your photo. It was a complete failure. So you have to tell me what software you're using. Thank you, Daniel, for being here. And let's get started. Did I miss anything of your career trajectory?
No, I'm unfortunately I don't have an AI to help with my video stream. So now you see the reality from what help kind of make it more inspiring my my view. But yeah, no, I think you cover pretty well.
Amazing. I would like to ask you if you can help our audience to understand how is your typical day as a data scientist and also as a manager of other data scientists. How your Monday to Friday looks like.
Yes. As a manager, my focus is making sure that my team is aligned with what our customers need. Our customers, or maybe we like to call it partners, really. In an ideal environment ecosystem in tech today, you like data science to be an equivalent partner to product and engineering. So we're sitting at the same table, we bring in different perspectives, different type of expertise. So my focus is to make sure that my team is working on the most important challenges that product engineering has. It's a mix of supporting, in essence, the decision that which have been made, like to take this product in this direction, launch this particular feature. That's what we use extensively A/B testing, for example. So doing assessment is this feature seem to be working on having, delivering on the hypothesis that we had. So we do Google, of course, it's sort of a bread and butter using experimental data before a launch and to tweak that feature. So that is helping our partners deliver on what's in the plan. And then we have to find time for doing the more forward-looking things, which is understanding user behavior, understanding headroom, opportunities, and inform the next decisions where we taking the product next. And then maybe a third leg that my team support is measurement. How are we doing? Google is a very OKR-driven organization. So we set goals. We set goals on things we can measure. So metrics are very important, and how we're making progress toward those goals is something that also my team supports.
That's really insightful. It sounds a combination of experimentation, measurement, and keeping your mind on the customer. Part of being a data scientist is being proficient on what you were just mentioned. But another big part, and you probably understand this better, is to help data scientist teams to be also focused on collaboration. And on that end, I would like to ask you, how is your organization, and particularly you, structuring your data science teams to maximize impact? And a follow-up question is there a benefit to integrating data science closely with product and engineering?
Yes. So in my journey, I've seen data science in different postures or different setups. And you can have data science sort of being a horizontal function, maybe centralized, and sort of you have a team of people wearing white coats in the lab and looking at data and sort of being keeping a wait list for people coming in and asking questions, or maybe looking at data and discovering something particularly interesting, but then maybe realizing is somewhat disconnected for where the business is going. So that's the challenge with that model of data science as a central resource. So what I've been experimenting with and adopting for several years now is really, if you want, you have to add the collaboration. You cannot, in order to be successful, the data scientists have to be closely embedded with the partners. So we do follow, which has a cost out, and I'll get to that. So our model it's partially an embedded model. In that sense, each member of my team is collaborating very closely with one or two product engineering work streams. So they sit in their meetings, they look at their product plans, they are very, very familiar with the particular feature and that particular domain. And that's how they can get a very strong product sense and understand what matters and read the data, interpret the data, and come up with ideas which are relevant to that. However, as you do that, you may be at times too embedded, too much in the weeds, too much into that particular feature effort. And so I try to combine with working more bottom up, from the data up, with sort of big picture, open-ended, more in mind, and do more strategic horizontal work that my team does in combination with the embedded work. And there we sort of step just a little bit away from the day-to-day product embedding,
Mhm.
and we try to think a little bit broader. And then we conduct this sort of analysis. That's how and then my team collaborates with each other on different themes that have some part of overlaps on their cross collaboration. And then the final output of that is bringing those insights and strategic guidance to our product leadership.
I see. I guess your experience at knowing the ups and downs of the workflow is what guides which mode, which is or getting an embedding style or getting like a strategic perspective on your data scientist,
I
right?
feel that you have to have both. So because we don't sort of switch or do those two type of functions at different times. We do it at the same time, which of course is hard because you have to balance that. You have to find the time to focus on sort of this bigger picture, deeper analysis, much deeper data analysis, and then you have to find the time to be doing experimentation, working with very closely with product, right? So you have to have both. They're not separated, nor often in my team, I don't have. One way to structure this could be that you have some people in the team who are dedicated to more strategic, longer term research analysis, and those which are more in embedded mode. I
I see.
prefer to do that. Most people in the team do some of both because you need that product experience in order to really connect and then have the context on doing the broader, deeper analysis.
That's super relevant. Flexibility to keep people developing skills in both product and data science.
Hmm.
Um, an often topic that I've found working with organizations is the fact that departments grow siloed. And in particular in data science, it's very easy to think only in the task, measurement task, or experimentation. How do you manage to break those silos?
Hmm. So as I said, like if you follow that embedded model at every level, you data science is, if you like to say, at the table. At the table could be part of that product team, feature team, work stream, very specifically working on this widget, this button, this function. And then at my level, being part of the leadership team, understanding the strategy of the product overall, and bringing the voice of data science. So we effectively this way we're never silos. We only all of our work is has an interface with product and engineering. So although as I mentioned, there are some things for which we don't necessarily take a strict guidance of doing some more strategic or potentially strategic analysis. We go sort of off and carry on some pursuit of data analysis or hypothesis. Some may pan out, some may not, and then we bring it back to the business. So we keep some independence, of course. We want to have thought leadership on how we use data to drive product strategies. But we are is really we're one of those three pillars that at least at Google, where it's data science, product and engineering. It doesn't mean that everywhere is like that, right? And that
Mhm.
not every organization may have bought into the role of data science in being so fundamental in the organization. Um, the large companies I've been with, Uber before Google, have that mindset, have that setup organizationally. Then organizationally, it may be that data science is literally a part of it. May roll under product or engineering, or all the way to its own data science leadership, but always very very close to product and engineering.
I see. Um, a recent debate on some papers on management point out to how vulnerable data science roles could be, right? The data scientist needs to convince, and if they don't
Mhm.
have the trust of his team, it cannot move forward, right? Um, Based on that, what would you prefer? A data science department above product or vice versa?
So I think you said you have to convince, right? You have to convince and you have to earn. So the point is that no matter if you are um, sort of appear on the same level as product or a functional product, of course, if you're a functional product, you will be, if you are under product in a way, then um, there will be some hierarchy there, right? So you probably want to be more of um, an equal level with product or engineering. But no matter what, you have to earn your medals. You have to earn the trust, and that's the base. That's the basic things, right? Doesn't necessarily happen. People are, especially those who have not worked very closely with data science, so are not experienced in um, maybe coming to data science first to inform a strategy, right? Uh, they need to see the facts. They have to see the true insights, the actionable insights. That's particularly important in order to become a partner. So it's about earning that trust and building that partnership.
Got it. It makes total sense. You need to show why it is relevant to a manager that is non-technical. I want to jump from the organizational side to the intersection between product and data science. And I would like to ask you, what is the most exciting project that you or feature that your team has worked on? And how did your team of data scientists come up with that solution or with the fusion of that specific feature?
So we in data in partnering with product, we look at the features in the product as
Mhm.
the solution, and we feel that in general that the role of coming up with potential solutions is the role of product. What I mean by that, we may have suggestions on a new product idea. We certainly have suggestions on steering a product when that direction is built. So they had people in my team who came up with sort of complete out of the box. There was no prior idea around working on something. Um, that could be a type of layout or dark mode in certain pieces that where the idea came by looking at certain data patterns and usage patterns. But generally speaking, we seek the user needs, the opportunity,
Mhm.
and then we let our product partners propose the how to, the product changes that could achieve, that can move us in that direction. Make
Got it.
sense?
That makes total sense. And if you will highlight three skills that a person that is aiming to work on the data science team or product team will need to have, what will
Hmm.
be those three skills?
Okay. So somebody who's interested in pursuing a professional career in data science, and in particular, I would say that product analytics. We hear that term more and more, but it is a we consider I consider that as a branch and a specialty of data science, right? Because product analytics requires certain competence, certain skill set. For example, A/B testing, which is sort of a basic tool or causal inference anyway to for product analytics. So I have one skill that I think is, to me, the one of the most important traits of any data scientist, whether it's for product analytics or other machine learning or other things, which for me is curiosity. Right?
Mm.
I look for people who are just fundamentally curious about anything, and in particular, what can be answered by data. The other trait is that we call product sense.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, completely embodying the user perspective, like
Right.
it, which is ultimately, what produces the data that we study. But so we are all users of our product, of course. We're power user, we're heavy users of our product, and that help us being on the product, on the do our best job in supporting the product. And I say thirdly, the ability to communicate, the ability to understand the other side, the other perspective. Sometimes we come, a data perspective is not the only perspective. It's not the only thing that motivates all the time, right? It's surely an important aspect. So we have to understand other perspectives. So we have to be able to sit at that table, use that language, understand others' language, use a language that expresses what our findings and insight from data science perspective in a way that could be comprehended and understood by our partners. So I think those will probably be the three important traits for somebody who wants to pursue this.
In the skill of curiosity, right?
Mm.
Uh, I think I agree with you. You need curiosity to succeed as a data scientist, but in general, I think Google is driven by curiosity. Like a big part of the experimentation methods that have been developed by people working on Google or working in Microsoft, right?
Mm.
But is it experimentation only constrained to big companies? I
Hmm.
just jumped from the product
Yes.
data science just because of what you said to many of my peers are creating small startups. How
Mm-hmm.
they can embed experimentation.
Yes. Experimentation is so the methodology is available to everybody. The data or the power of the data to perform certain types of experimentation may be only available at certain scale. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be Google, Microsoft, Meta to have the scale to leverage traditional experimentations and be able to measure differences. Now, the kind of difference, the kind of incremental changes in user behavior that Google has the power to uncover. Clearly, it has a microscope that can get at the tiniest effects because of the scale, because we have the luxury of access to billions of users. So you can look things that would be very much impossible to see in other products if you don't have that sort of a scale. On the other hand, these being able to measure what could be impossibly small to measure for many may only be so important for places like Google, where things in a way are so optimized that the increments that you're seeking are really infinitesimal. And because of the scale, that infinitesimal means a lot in terms of impact, right? But for a
Mhm.
startup, you're in a way, do you have a balance there, right? You A/B testing is a rigorous methodology that, where
Mhm.
possible, needs it should be applied, and the signals you're seeking early on in a product maturity are probably like of a larger scale that you don't need sort of such a massive user base to be able to uncover those, to have the statistical power to observe that. So is it for every organization, every product? Not. You see a lot more of this in organizations that have product with a very, very large user base, and that becomes sort of a core functionality. Of course, we also have platforms. We have a very, very well tested and mature platform for doing A/B testing.
Mhm.
Um, So that's the trade-off, right? So you can use it because you may not be looking like, look, the tiny changes that we're able to measure at Google, given the scale and also given what we're looking for. Early on in a product, you may be looking at much more coarse differences that product improvements may bring to your users.
Very useful that trade-off you just explained to me, and the distinction that in the case of Google or Microsoft, you have millions, billions of data to analyze one feature, and you are able to observe things that in other scales will be impossible. I would like to ask you, as a final inquiry, um, how are you guys using Gen AI? Gen AI is right now the hype, right? And so I couldn't avoid it. Is Gen AI, you see that is improving the productivity of your team, or is it still lagging behind?
It is. I think that, in my opinion, the first widespread impact of Gen AI is first in software development, because it's such a great fit. It's just great fit to specialized model for coding, and such a powerful tool for developers. I'm not talking about data scientists. I'm talking about developers first.
Mhm.
Um, but also in data science, I'm seeing more and more that, in terms of speed and velocity, we can use, for example, Gen AI to quickly create essentially NLP, or say query classifiers, that would traditionally require a longer ML cycle to develop something for this particular need, a very specific need. Now we can rapidly develop or tune an LLM based framework to have a pretty sophisticated NLP type classifier for doing some sort of analysis, right? So we can
Mm.
do further segmentation in a way that before would have taken a long time to kind of build a dedicated NLP classifier for that. So that's one way that are seeing as becoming um, a widespread tool, and also at Google. And a lot of what we do has to do with evaluating results, and results are search results, search pages. So it's a lot of textual content, and then things where we used to use a lot of manpower to do evaluation of quality. Then it can now brought at scale using LLP that complements the human evaluation, of course. So I think it's speed at
Mhm.
both, certainly at the software development level, and now also at and then every time we have our, in the last couple of years, as we saw at our annual internal conference of data scientists within Google, there's a lot of case studies, a lot of people who bring in more new innovative ways to use LLMs for their work at Google.
It sounds that is a big paradigm shift. And in hearing you, it seems that it is increasing productivity in your teams as well. I am very thankful for this conversation. A lot of insights in short time. And hopefully, we can talk more in future episodes about the amazing world of data science and product, Danielle.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right.